Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the No Punt Intended podcast here on Entertainment Buddha. I am your host, Nick Hershey. Be sure to check us out online at www.entertainmentbuddha.com, where we make you a better geek, one post at a time. We are entering the playoffs. Round one starts this weekend, and with me, as always, is the number nerd himself, Justin Ludwig.
It's time for the wild card round.
Wild card, where anything can happen.
So here's a little story. Last week, I was perusing the lines and I was looking at a couple of games to throw teasers with, and I built myself up to a 9-team teaser, and then my browser kind of messed up, and I thought, you know what? Divine intervention. I'm not supposed to put action. Something stupid's going to happen, as it always does, and then I'll be glad that I didn't, go through with it. I'm 99% sure my 9-team teaser hit. True story. The only one I'm not sure is whether I picked San Diego or Kansas City. I'm pretty sure I picked Kansas City because I figured they would play spoiler,
right?
And they did. So I'm pretty sure I could have hit a 9-team teaser. That'll never happen again.
Never say never.
I guess. What might have been.
What might have been indeed. So week 17 is done and in the books for the year. How did we do pick wise?
So you're with the same guy that could have hit a 9-team teaser. Speaking of 9, I went 9-7 last week. You had the flip of that, 7-9.
Okay.
Favorites 8-8. Home team 7-9. Let's see. We both got burned on San Francisco. We both got burned on New Orleans, not covering.
And Oakland.
And Minnesota. Other than that, and Houston.
Houston, yes. That was
Houston. But if you would have teased that, you would have been A-okay, which was in my list of 9 teams. But that's neither here nor there because
look past it.
Right. There's 11 games left. There's 11 chances to do to make some cookies.
And there's a few teams in the playoffs that I'm kind of itching to put some cookies on, perhaps, or cookies against, I should say.
Cookies against. Well, it seems that the Seahawks are the favorite, followed by the Patriots, Packers, Broncos, Cowboys, Steelers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it gets
it's up in the air.
You
mean Carolina's not one of the favorites after winning that incredible NFC South division?
They are not the least favorite.
Who is the least favorite?
The least favorite is Arizona, which I guess is a fair statement since they're on a bit of a slide.
Although, strictly looking at their record, Arizona's 11-5, Panthers are 7-8-1, and Vegas has given Panthers a better shot at winning the Super Bowl than the Cardinals.
Don't get sucked in with that spurious statistic.
Oh, I know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm just saying.
However, if you were to put some cookies on Arizona, you would be violating one of your gambling credos of betting on a bad quarterback on the road. And you're going to bet against Cam? How dare you?
Well, I didn't say I was going to do that. I'm just saying I'm surprised that they're the least favorite.
A 34-3 drumming last week, and you're going to bet against Cam?
I didn't say I was going to bet against Cam.
Let's see.
Where did you hear that?
4 in a row.
I love
after
Cam
they
Newton.
lost 6 in a row, but that's neither here nor there. They won the division. What's done is done.
So it's a new season.
Sort of. Started at 0.
Starting a clean slate. All right.
Clean slate, except the slate is as such that it depends on what was done before, but yeah.
It's like the slate's clean, but there's still a little bit of residue.
There's like a little bit,
Yeah.
It's like eating a lasagna or something. There's still a little bit of lasagna left on the plate. You just have to scrub it or throw it in the dishwasher a little.
Right. So this game's a dishwasher game? Is that what we decided?
Or it's like the crumbs at the bottom of your Fritos bag that you just tilt the whole bag up. The seedings that are left are like the sweet crumbs left at the bottom of your chili cheese Fritos bag.
All right, I like that analogy. Now I'm hungry.
And now it's like a new bag. Now it's like you open the Cheetos.
All right.
Or the party mix if you're having a New Year's Eve party.
Yeah, party mix is good. I do enjoy that.
It is good.
It is. All right.
We're not disagreeing on the first choice, party mix.
No.
Agree.
Top choice,
Hands down.
Cheetos or party mix? If you had to pick one.
Yeah, but Cheetos are usually in party mix. It's like, would I rather have...
Yeah, I guess
would I rather have Teddy Grahams or have the party mix that my dad makes, which has Teddy Grahams in it? It's like, but I'm gonna have party mix because I can eat around the Teddy Grahams and have the Teddy Grahams.
Because see, my grandmother makes party mix, but it doesn't have Cheetos. So when I think of party mix, that's what I think of.
What's
not non-Cheetos?
What's the crux of the party mix in that she makes? What's like the marquee item?
It's Chex Mix, and then like pretzel sticks or like little pretzels. She'll put in this kind of like hard bread type stuff, like cracker bread type stuff.
The bagel chips.
Yeah.
Those are good.
And then she mixes it all in her special grandma's recipe seasoning that makes it super, super addicting. And it's so good.
Secret hobo spices. Deep fried.
I don't know exactly what it is, but
what's
it's delicious.
Secret?
Well, true.
It's on a handwritten card deep within the bowels of her
recipe Rolodex.
Recipe Rolodex, exactly.
Yeah.
Party mix. Party mix.
Although at this point she doesn't even need the recipe, she just knows.
Do you got the recipe? Yeah, I do. It's right here.
I assume you're tapping to your head.
Yeah. Radio.
Okay.
Doesn't make for good radio.
All right. You want to get some NFL news before we talk about the games?
Yeah, some hirings and no, just firings, just the latter.
Well, Michigan hired, but that's not NFL.
Oh, you're right.
That's official. Harbaugh's going to Michigan. Let's see. Jets owner fired. Both Idzik and Ryan, general manager and head coach, are gone. Falcons fire Mike Smith after 7 seasons, and the Bears fired both GM Emery and coach Tressman. So they are so far 4 teams that are head coachless at this point. And the Raiders, Tony Sparano was an interim coach. I think he's trying to convince them to let him continue that job, but nothing's confirmed or disconfirmed at this time.
They're head coachless, not coachless heads.
Right. There's a huge difference.
It's like semantics, I guess.
It's like that meme I always see. It's like talking about how important commas are, and it's like, let's eat, grandma. And if you miss the comma, it says, let's eat, grandma. And if you put the comma in the right spot, it's like, let's eat, comma, grandma. I mean, that's what this is. That's what this is.
Fun with grammar. Oh, did you... I had a joke, but I lost it.
You can't even, not even a little bit.
I was going to say, if you're looking for the No Punt podcast, you're not in the right place. This is the Fun with Grammar podcast. But it's both.
It's both. We have fun here.
Intertwined. It's like Cheetos inside a party mix. You get one with the other because it's inside the other. It's like in the Venn diagram of things. Set theory. That's a bridge too far.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. Some other news. Ndamukong Suh is suspended for the first game for Detroit for stepping on Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you saw that, but it's hard to tell if it was on purpose, but I guess just because of his past, the NFL reviewed it and suspected that it was a purposeful step onto Aaron Rodgers' leg as he was laying on the ground.
Listen, as the great Troy Aikman says, when you step on the field, you know when you're stepping on the field.
That's true.
He's alluding to the fact that he thinks he did it on purpose, which I think he did.
Well, it's true, but it wasn't like he was staring down at Rodgers' leg and went and stomped on it. He was like kind of tiptoeing backwards a little bit, and I don't know. I think you're right. It was probably on purpose, but he didn't. The video evidence wasn't conclusive enough for me, but like I said, based on his past history and reputation in the league, it was probably the right call by the NFL.
Speaking of on purpose inflection, Tampa Bay has the number 1 pick because they did exactly what I thought they would do, even though they were winning at one point by 13.
Yeah. You sent me that text notifying me that the Bucs were up 13, and I think my response was something to the effect of, well, if they really want that first pick, they'll have to figure out how to lose this game. And sure enough, they did. So,
see, it would have been really funny if New Orleans also gave up. Because they're not playing. They're not really. I mean, they weren't playing for anything. They couldn't have won the division.
Right. So just to screw up Tampa Bay.
Right. It would have been funny if the Bucs were winning by 13 going into halftime, and the Saints were just saying to themselves, you know what? Let's just be assholes. Let's win. Let's lose this game.
So they can't get the number 1.
Exactly. It's just it would have been just funny to watch. It's like impasse, but on a football field.
Like Drew Brees closing his eyes and chucking the football in the air. It reminds me of that episode of South Park where they're playing Little League, but nobody wants to play because they keep winning and going on to more tournaments, and it's taking up their whole summer. And so they all try and lose, but somehow the South Park kids keep winning.
Drew Brees would throw it to somebody on Tampa who would bat it up in the air to somebody from New Orleans who would grab it, look around, maybe fumble it on purpose or something, fall down.
Just hand it over to somebody on Tampa. That would have been funny.
I really wish they would have done that. That would have been funny.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other news here? No, I mean, Le'Veon Bell got hurt, but it wasn't anything serious. I think it was just I think they called it a hyperextension of his knee.
Hyperextended knee. He is questionable.
Yeah. So they might be okay. I mean, they probably should be okay without him, but it is the playoffs, so you want to have everybody. So hopefully, for Yinzer's sake, he plays. If provided he's healthy enough, but. I would think if they get past Baltimore in the first round, they'll, he'll be back and ready to go in that second game.
Yeah, they looked pretty bad without him yesterday.
Oh, Antonio Brown still stands out, so.
Yeah, but without Le'Veon, you get a little too one-dimensional.
True.
I don't think Big Ben feels quite as he doesn't get quite the spread of the defense that he needs to air it out every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though they do have the weapons, it's just they need that double-edged sword.
Yeah. I think Big Ben just missed 5,000 yards, didn't he?
He tied. Who did he tie?
He has 4,952 for the regular season.
Yep.
So he needed 48 more yards if math serves me right.
It was one play left. Oh, he tied Drew Brees. That was right.
Yeah.
He and Drew Brees are tied at 4,952 yards.
Exactly.
They're almost 200 yards ahead of Andrew Luck. That's
very interesting. I thought he might get that 5,000 yards, but obviously it wasn't in the cards this year. He did throw for 32 touchdowns, which I think is a career high for him, if I'm not mistaken.
Ties a previous career high.
Oh, okay.
But it's not a career high.
Wow. All right. You want to get into some of these wild card games?
Wild card.
Say it again.
Wild card.
You're not going to say it again?
Wild card. How am I going to say it? Who knows? That's the wild card.
Yeah. I was just trying to set you up, but look like an idiot.
If there's any game in the wild card round that is the behind the pillar game, it's our first one, which features the number 5, the NFC 5 seed Arizona, traveling to the NFC South champion 4 seed Carolina Panthers, and the Panthers, riding their 4-game winning streak, are favored by 5.5 points.
Here's the thing. Because it's the playoffs, even though this might not be the marquee wildcard game, you can't have it behind a pillar. You still got to watch it.
I know.
You just got to.
It's only one game at a time. We're kind of saddled into this.
Right. So it'll be behind the pillar, but it'll also be on every other TV. So
it will not be behind the pillar. Right.
Exactly. See, you understand. I'm going to go with the Panthers. Because I'm just afraid they're going to let me down, but I'm going to go with the Panthers. Because, like you said, it's a bad quarterback on the road in a playoff game. Cardinals are in a slide. So I'm going with Cammy.
Yep, you're exactly right. It's going to be Carolina. The only question is, do you play this straight up spread or do you play this as a tease? See, here's the challenge I'm setting forth to you. There's 11 games left. Our task is to create an assortment so that we can go 11-0 against the spread.
Okay. 11-0 against the spread.
At the same time, after we're done these 4 wildcard games, you're going to have to create a 4-team teaser.
Okay.
So the challenge has been set forth.
Okay.
Keeping in mind, last year, the number 5 seed beat the number 4 seed in the NFC when San Francisco edged Green Bay 23-20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, but neither of those teams are either of those teams.
I know.
You really want to take that chance with Ryan Lindley in Arizona?
No. Question is. Let's see. Drew Stanton recently underwent arthroscopic surgery to combat infection and may be done for the season.
He's done.
He's doubtful, which also starts with a D.
Highly doubtful. HD.
Larry Fitzgerald.
I think if the Panthers defense keeps playing the way it has been, they might surprise some folk.
Yeah.
Maybe just Arizona, but that wouldn't really be too much of a surprise, though.
They've had some pretty good scoring games, too. 34-3 against Atlanta, 41-10 against New Orleans. Did they play Arizona? No, they didn't.
And are the Cardinals that much better than either of those teams right now?
No.
I mean, maybe defensively, but not. Because Atlanta's defense is terrible. New Orleans' defense is bad. Cardinals' defense is banged up, but they're still better, just not great. But I don't think they'll be able to score enough points.
Have the Cardinals played an opponent? When's the last time? Let's see. They played the Niners, Kaepernick, lost. They played Seattle with Russell Wilson, got killed. Lost again to Seattle. That might be it. But it seems like they have trouble with mobile quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would submit that Cam Newton is of the mobile quarterback variety.
Yes. I would agree. I think he's second in quarterbacks and rushing behind Russell.
5.5 points. I think that's all right. See, the real question is, because of the playoff structure, could you find yourself into a reverse teaser situation? Would you hate 11.5 points? Would you hate that much of a hurdle?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, my first instinct was to say yes. I would hate taking Carolina at 11.5, just because it is the playoffs, and you expect the teams that are in it to step up, including those you still expect to lose in the first round. But
sure,
the way Carolina's been playing, winning by 31 against a division rival for the division last week, kind of showed some fire. But like I said, Atlanta's defense is terrible. Cardinals is better, and I I don't know. I'd have to think about it more before I took Carolina on a reverse tease for 11 and a half, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm always leery about reverse teases in playoff situations.
That's fair.
Because it's not like they're playing bottom of the barrel teams that they're gonna, there's a higher chance that they'll blow them out.
I mean, the interesting matchup will be if things go according to plan, that the winner of this game will play Seattle next week with Carolina and Seattle. That would probably be a fun game.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun one to watch.
That would be fun. Yeah. Hopefully that happens. I'd like to see that. All right. Who do we got next?
The other Saturday game.
And that's Saturday.
Is Baltimore, the number 6 AFC seed, traveling to AFC North champion, the 3 seed, Pittsburgh Steelers, who are favored by 3.5. Primetime Saturday.
I'm going to go with the Steelers. Even if Le'Veon Bell doesn't play, I still think the Steelers can handle the Ravens. You don't think so?
I don't know. It's a question of Baltimore's offense. That's the bigger wild card in this wild card round.
Right.
Well, this wild card matchup, not the whole round, just the matchup.
Yeah, because they
split the season series, so there's that. Their offense has been a little anemic the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they scored 20 on the Browns. Let's see. Their last 3 games, they haven't scored more than 20 points.
Now their running game's been a little iffy.
And one of those was against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Steelers.
I mean, as we always talk about, the one area of concern for Pittsburgh's defense is always their deep passes.
Right.
But I guess
which Flacco does seem to get lucky with a lot.
Yeah. It's like all he would need is 1 or 2 big strikes, and if Le'Veon Bell's not there and Pittsburgh's stalling a little bit, that might be enough. 3.5.
Yeah, but at least Pittsburgh has 3 above average receivers.
Yeah.
In Brown, Wheaton, and Bryant. Like any one of them can get loose for a 70-yard touchdown.
Tease would be all right. Because I can see I can see this in the neighborhood of something to like a 20-17 or a something like that.
Yeah, this would certainly be on my list of possible teasers.
Huh.
But yeah, like you said, the Ravens' running game isn't anything to write home about. The one plus the Ravens, for the Ravens anyway, will be Haloti Ngata is coming back, so he might cause a little trouble for the Steelers. But I don't know. He missed the last 3 or 4 games of the season due to a suspension. So to throw him in right into the playoffs might be a little overwhelming, perhaps. But let's see. Yeah, I think I'm still stuck on Steelers. So let's go with that.
That's fine. I'll go with that too.
Okay. And let's see. Next up, we have Cincinnati at Indianapolis. Indianapolis minus 4.5.
Andy Dalton playing in an early game, which is his not kryptonite.
Well, okay. Yeah, technically it's not a quote-unquote primetime game, but it is a playoff game without other games on.
That's true. You're right.
But the Colts haven't been looking well. They did win against Tennessee by put up 27. They're first in the league in passing yards. I don't know. They just haven't looked good. Let's see. The last 4 games, they've put up 25, 17, 7, and 27.
I guess the real question is AJ Green's status. What's he?
Right. And the other thing too, the Bengals have a fantastic running game in Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard. Bernard's great at screen passes and making people miss, and Jeremy Hill's just a bruiser who always seems to have 100 yards before the half. But
the other thing to keep in mind is that Andy Dalton's never won a playoff game.
True. That's true. But would you take the Colts at minus 4.5?
4.5 in Indianapolis. Colts are 11-5 against the spread. Colts will not be using Charlie Whitehurst, so that's a plus.
He plays for the Titans.
I know, so they won't be using him.
Exactly. They also won't be using
Matt Hasselbeck.
Matt Hasselbeck. Hopefully they won't.
4?
They are at home.
I don't know.
Would you take them at minus 1.5 in Cincinnati?
I don't know. Oh, in Cincinnati? Ugh.
They're minus 4.5. You figure 3 is home field is the general rule.
Colts won 27-0 back in week 7.
I don't know. I think Andy Dalton's kind of at that point where he's past the terrible primetime player label that he's been given.
Well,
maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but
the tricky thing with his with the stat that he's bad in prime time is that typically the games in prime time are good games, so he'd be playing against better teams at night than he would. I'm not saying he's not playing against good teams when it's an early game or anything, but it's probably more likely that those are just the ho-hum games. So of course he's going to win those. But now he's going up against division winner, a pretty good quarterback. It's like if you take his game against Pittsburgh out of it, he hasn't really had in the last, I don't know, most of the season. He had an okay game last week
against Denver.
Well, even his earlier game against Pittsburgh, he had 300 yards.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's frequently struggling to get up to 200 yards. He's throwing a lot of interceptions. He threw for only 126 yards against Indianapolis last time.
Yeah, and against
it's just the playoffs. Something stupid's going to happen. I know it.
Yeah, against Denver, he threw for 146 yards. They got the win, but he wasn't throwing too well. How many times did he throw?
38.
He threw 26 times.
26, yeah, you're right.
Against Denver.
Against Denver.
Yeah. Yeah, I like I said, I think a big part of it too is AJ Green, but I don't know. I feel like 4.5 is too high for the Colts right now. I'm gonna go with Cincinnati.
Cincinnati?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Just because they can put up points, and I don't know. Colts don't really have much of a running game. They're relying on Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton basically.
They also don't have much of a run defense either.
Right. Which is good for Cincinnati with Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard.
Well, I'll take Indianapolis.
All right.
I don't know.
You just got a feeling that tonight's going to be a good night.
Why'd you have to do that? I don't know. This is probably the one I'm the least confident with.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine, because it's a 4 versus 5. That's probably how it should be.
Right.
Even teasing it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that Cincinnati's not just going to walk in there and
blow the doors off the place.
Yeah.
It's possible. I mean, they can put up points, but I mean, they shut Cleveland. They put 30 up on Cleveland a couple weeks ago, which you don't see too often because Cleveland's defense is pretty solid. They put up 27 against Baltimore, 27 against New Orleans, and again 37 against Denver. So they can definitely put up points. Just a matter of getting it all together and the chemistry working out the way they plan. So we'll see. All right, so you're taking Indy?
Yeah, I think they just score too much.
Okay.
As a team.
All right. You're allowed to do that.
This season, they've scored.
True. And Andrew Luck has proven himself to be a solid playoff quarterback thus far. For the most part. Well, compared to Andy Dalton, that is. All right. Next up, who we got?
For the final wildcard game, it's the number 6 seed Detroit Lions traveling down to the heart of Texas to take on the NFC East champion Dallas Cowboys, who are favored by 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
And as we said earlier, the Lions will be without Ndamukong Suh unless his appeal gets changed.
No, that won't happen probably.
But probably not before
7.5
Sunday.
Last time these two teams met was in 2013 when the Lions edged Dallas by 1 point, 31-30.
But the Lions...
Silly thing is, the last game for Detroit was just exactly how I thought it would go when they lost to Green Bay by 10. Because I think the Lions are full of crap, but you know that. They're also 4-4 away.
Right.
Which is in sharp contrast to their 7-1 home record.
And the winner of this gets to hang out in Green Bay the following week.
Well, if Dallas wins, they go to Green Bay. If Detroit wins, they'd go to Seattle.
Right.
Where they would probably really get destroyed. But as my prediction will tell you, I don't think that's going to happen because I think Dallas is going to win. And I also think Dallas is going to cover.
Okay. I'm going to agree with you.
Dallas scores way too much. They've still got their weapons with DeMarco and Dez. I think Tony Romo has slid very nicely right into the game manager role. Mm-hmm. He had only one game in which he had more than 40 attempts. And he only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games over 30 attempts.
Yeah, they definitely don't have to rely on him as much with DeMarco and the offensive line working the way they are. And the fact that he actually has time to throw the ball when he does have a pass play.
Yep, career high 69.9% completion, touchdown percentage 7.8% of passes.
How many yards does he have this year?
3,700.
Okay.
Which is on the low side for him, but
right. I was thinking he might be closer to 4, but
yeah.
I guess that kind of makes sense since he's throwing less frequently.
Yep.
Yeah, as far as Detroit's defense, they're first against the rush and 13th against the pass. But again, they'll be without Ndamukong Suh, which is a huge part of that, literally and figuratively. Yeah, so I think Dallas will be able to cover that 7.5.
Yeah, their line is so good. Without another big threat for Detroit on their defensive line, it's going to be tough for them to disrupt Dallas's protection.
Yeah, and as far as Detroit's running game, they're towards the bottom in the NFL at 28. So, they're going to have to rely, as they have been, on Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate. But Matt Stafford's just so up and down. It's going to be hard to hard to figure out exactly how, who's going to show up for him.
Yep. He does still have
right.
Calvin, but
He does, but Calvin hasn't been the Calvin that he has in the past. So who knows? Maybe they step it up this week. All right, so we disagreed on one game, the Colts.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you, gun to your head, shooting to go, pardon the pun, shooting to go for a perfect postseason, are you content with picking Carolina, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Dallas against the spread? Are you locked in?
Yes.
All right. Now, the task set before you is to pick a 4-team teaser.
4-team teaser.
Go ahead and pick 2 teams in the same game. I don't care. Just assemble a 4-team teaser.
Well, Dallas will be 1.
That's fair.
Steelers.
Okay. You'd probably just want to take your picks and just tease them, right? That's probably what I would do.
Yeah. I mean, I was contemplating the Lions because that would give them 13.5.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way the Cowboys have been blowing teams out, that kind of makes me second guess a little bit.
Yeah. The one I would consider teasing up would be Baltimore, just because I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Okay.
Plus,
and make it 9.5.
Yeah. Plus, if it's poopy weather.
So you'd rather tease Baltimore to 9.5 than Pittsburgh to whatever plus 2.5?
Well, I mean, I would tease Pittsburgh. I'm saying if I had to take the underdog and tease them up.
Oh, okay.
Of the 4 choices, I wouldn't do Dallas. I wouldn't do Detroit because I think Dallas scores too much. I wouldn't do Arizona because I think Carolina has the potential to score a lot.
Right.
And same goes for Cincy at Indianapolis. I think Andrew Luck and the Colts have the ability to score a lot. It's just of all the games, it's supposed to be a high of 40, overcast. It's at Heinz where people can't kick, as we saw last game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. No, I agree with that. If you were to take one of the underdogs to tease, that would probably be the one to do. Yeah. All right. So who are yours? If you would had a gun to your head, had to pick your teams, would it be the teams you picked, or would you mix it up a little bit?
No, I'd probably just take the ones I'd pick because I don't know that I'm essentially saying that there's not going to be any upsets, which I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
Comfortable with that.
All right. So let's see. Since the playoff field is set, my original pick before the season for the Super Bowl was the San Diego Chargers. That is no longer a possibility, no matter how many times I look over the playoff picture. Yours, who'd you have, the Broncos?
Yep, Broncos and Eagles, so half that's out.
All right. Are you still confident with your Broncos pick? Or would you like to?
Ironically, I was thinking about that earlier. The AFC favorite's New England, and I don't think that's a good pick as of now, only because they've struggled in the last couple of games. They lost against Buffalo.
To be fair, against Buffalo, they had their backups in most of the games. So.
I know, but they barely beat the Jets. However, strong disclaimer, this is probably one of those instances where they go into the playoffs slightly limping, and then they turn it around and use this as motivation to run straight through the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think if Denver has to go to New England, that's not going to be good for Denver. Because that's a tough place to play, especially in the playoffs.
So, in the playoff picture that I've created, or I guess that both of us have created because the seedings are moot the way we picked. Next week would be Pittsburgh at Denver and the winner of Cincy, Indianapolis traveling to New England. That's probably. So if Pittsburgh wins, they go to New England or Denver. That's probably then it's Denver going to New England. But yeah. I mean, I feel like Denver is probably my pick right now, just because I feel like they're still in their stride. It's not as though with New England, I feel like they aren't. I feel like they're not quite up to their top of their game.
Right. Yeah, and if you had to pick one of the wild card teams, let's see, you picked the Steelers and the Colts to win.
If I had to pick one of them,
let's see. If you had to pick one of them to upset New England or upset the entire AFC, which one would you go with?
Pick a wild card or Cincinnati, Indianapolis?
Well, you picked the Colts to win that game.
Yeah.
So between the Steelers and the Colts of the AFC wild card of your picks, which one would you think, could give Denver and New England problems?
I still think that of any of the teams that perhaps Cincinnati has the highest upside.
Okay.
Only because certain games they've shown that they have the ability to be a good team. They've already beaten Denver. I mean, a lot of their other wins aren't very impressive. They beat the Ravens only by 3, though. They beat the Ravens earlier in the season by 7.
They tied with the NFC South champions.
But I mean, I don't think Baltimore's poised to, run the table and wreak some havoc. Indianapolis, they don't have the running. It's the fact that Cincinnati is more balanced than these lower seeded teams, because they have Jeremy Hill, who's been really great in the last couple of games, and they have Andy Dalton, who, every once in a while has an okay game. Plus they have AJ Green as long as he's healthy. So I feel like they have the highest upside only because they have the best balance.
You would take I was thinking the Steelers as the possible wild card upset team for the divisional round.
Well, the only trouble is the first round. If they can get Le'Veon Bell back and he's not, affected by this hyperextended knee, I think they'll be the ones. But as of now,
okay, so you're thinking with Bell out,
right?
Okay,
but I don't hate the Steelers at 14-1 to win the Super Bowl on the condition that Le'Veon Bell comes back.
All right.
Maybe even next week. But
what are the Bengals odds?
Bengals odds are right now 40-1. They're in a logjam of 3 teams with the Ravens, Bengals, Lions, who are all 40-1, and then coming in last is Arizona, 66-1.
So an 11-5 team is 66-1 favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
All right, and as far as the NFC, who would you think might surprise some of the top tier teams?
Vegas.
I mean, the Cowboys?
Yeah, if it's going to be anyone, it's going to be the Cowboys.
I don't know how much of a quote-unquote surprise they would be, because they're 12-4, so are the Packers and Seahawks. The Cowboys just got the wild card.
Yeah, Arizona's going to get bounced out. I really don't see them getting past Carolina. Carolina, they don't have the tools. Yeah, they're not good enough, definitely. And as I've been saying the whole year, I still think Detroit's full of poop. So
yeah. So you think Detroit will be done after the first round?
Well, even if they get past Dallas, that means they have to go to Seattle, and I think that would be a little too overwhelming for them. Seattle's really hot right now. Plus, it's going into Seattle. But I guess it's that interesting matchup of Detroit being an offense first team versus Seattle, who's at least last year, relied so heavily on their defense. So it's kind of the good defense versus the, predominant offense.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Packers, they're kind of tough to figure out. They had those nice streak of games there in the middle and towards the end of the season, but I feel like they're definitely beatable by I think the Cowboys could beat them if they meet in the conference championship. I don't know. I just think the Packers might be a tad overrated. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
So, I mean, let's look at Green Bay's.
I mean, if Green Bay's running game gets stalled, because let's see, I'd imagine they would play Dallas. Their secondary would get beat up by Aaron Rodgers, but would the converse happen? Dallas is really balanced, so that would work for them. I guess it's more who can score more points, Aaron Rodgers or the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Because it's probably going to be Lambeau freezing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the biggest advantage for Green Bay is Lambeau Field.
Yep.
Especially for a team like if Dallas were to head there, But I mean, if we look at Green Bay's games since the bye week, they beat the Bears. They scored 55 points, which turns out the Bears aren't as good as a lot of people were thinking even at that point in the season. They beat up on Philadelphia they had 3 defensive touchdowns that game. They scored 53. They beat Minnesota by 3, only scored 24. Yeah. New England they beat by 5, scored 26. Atlanta they put 43 on.
I mean, if you get rid of the Chicago and the Philadelphia game, the rest of those are wins, but they're not impressive wins. I mean, you beat Tampa you beat by 17, Detroit you beat by 10, you lost to Buffalo.
Right. And they put up 43 against Atlanta, who has the worst defense in the NFL.
Yeah. So I mean, if they play Dallas, and as long as it's not another ice bowl, it's probably going to be one that's like that Atlanta game. That's just going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's probably going to be one of those like Detroit 30-20. But
right. Yeah,
that'll be fun.
I'm kind of curious. Do you have the over-unders for these wild card rounds?
Over-unders, I sure do.
Just curious. Go ahead and fire when ready. I'll respond. You listed. I'll respond with my gut reaction. Did I throw you a curveball with the over-unders?
No, 1 second. Here we go. You ready?
Ready.
Carolina Cardinals. Over-under is 38.
Under.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's way too low. That's way too low.
I said what I said.
I know. That's an over. That's definitely. I think Carolina's going to score 38. Anyway, moving on. Ravens Steelers 47.
Under.
That's fair. Bengals Colts 50.
Over.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's high, but both teams can put up points.
Cowboys Lions 49.
Over.
That might be close.
Yeah.
Might be close only because if the Cowboys go up, like 33-17.
Right.
Then you've just edged it by 1.
Right. Like I said, I was going with my first reaction. So if I were to sit back and actually contemplate, some of those might be different. But
no.
I'm just saying.
We said gut reaction.
I know. I did. I understand. No, but I think that Cardinals Panthers was at 38.
Yeah.
And a half. I think that might be a low scoring game. I think that might
tease that down.
Yeah.
That's dumb. 32 points. No way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I mean, it might be one of those games that, ends 14-10 or something like that, or 13-10.
Yeah, tease that up. I'd make it a 5-team tease. Toss that in there.
Yeah.
But what do I know? I'm the guy that makes 19 teasers who then come through, but then just don't pull the trigger. So,
well, it's your internet's fault. And then you thought it was divine intervention and thought you were saving money. And
I should do the opposite of what I think. Make a hypothesis, do the opposite. I thought I was going to lose. I thought, this is never going to work, but it worked.
But then, what if in your head you're already thinking the opposite of what you would have normally done anyway?
Yeah.
Then you do the opposite of the opposite, which is the original.
Well, the real question is, now that Axis is over, what comic books are you going to read?
Well, I know you and I in the past discussed Batman.
That's really good right now.
Yeah, so that I'll have to... How many issues is that? Like 30-something?
Just said 37.
37. Yeah, so I'll have to go back through and find some of the earlier ones. Suicide Squad is one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm currently reading Marvel Unlimited, still the new Avengers.
That's good.
Which you had recommended. So I've got some stuff. Plus I have some regular literature to read.
You could always read the comic adaptations of those.
True.
Like Moby Dick. Just read the comics version.
I do have Nick Offerman wrote a book that I've heard is hilarious, but I haven't started it yet. So I'm looking forward to starting that at some point. We shall see.
It's a new year. It's new opportunities.
Yeah. What about you? What's on the reading list agenda?
Well, it's slim pickings this week, as will be highlighted in my weekly highlights.
Mm-hmm.
I will be picking up only 2 books this week, which has never happened. I'm kidding. It happened last year.
At this time?
At this time.
All right.
It's a great week to go backwards in time and catch up, or go and try something new.
New year, new comics.
New year, new opportunity, new comics. Exactly, because they do this every year. During the new year, it's high and dry. So,
any of them in particular
that are coming out?
Yeah, the new ones.
There's a new book Marvel's putting out, Shield, which is based on Shield.
Is that in conjunction with the TV show?
Don't know. But it does have Agent Coulson.
Okay.
So if you're a big fan of Agent Coulson, this is probably right up your alley.
Okay.
And then DC just has their 2 weekly series, Batman Eternal and Future's End, because they are weekly series.
Mm-hmm.
So the requirement to have them come out weekly precludes them from not having a book this week.
Lucky for you.
Well, it'll give me something to do.
Yeah. Little something to read while you recover from your New Year's Eve adventures.
Yeah, it'll keep me out of trouble. There's always Captain Toad.
That's true.
Which was under the tree. So.
Oh, I bet. How excited were you?
It's still in the wrapper. I'll get there.
All right.
I'll get there.
All right. Well, are you still playing Diablo?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I started Last of Us, so I'm gonna continue that, and I'll probably eventually get Far Cry. That's on my list of gets.
It's a good choice.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to plug or discuss?
Wild card. No, just excited about this wild card round.
Are you? I think. Hold on, my headphone exploded. All right, we're good.
Excited about wild card.
All right, yeah. Be sure to check us out online at www.entertainmentbuddha.com. We recently put up a bunch of top 10 lists. David put up top 10 music or rock albums for 2014. We have a top 10 movie geek movie list, video games, etc. And check out the last Buddhacast from last week as well if you haven't already, where the gang discusses their favorites from the year. So, Justin, you were involved in that, correct?
Good year in review. It's a good chance to get the year in review.
Yeah, I listened to it the other day. It was a fun listen. I enjoyed it. lot of I felt a lot of tension between Ray and anyone that liked Dragon Age.
Well, that's the nice thing about that podcast is if you are itching for something new and you haven't tried some things, it's a great chance to hear what the EB staff preferred in the year 2014. It seems that Dragon Age was a big hit. Mm-hmm. I need to try Dragon Age. I also need to try Shadow of Mordor. But
yeah, Shadow of Mordor is one I'd like to try too. But yeah, I'm gonna have to save up some of my Christmas cash and use it accordingly. Maybe some of these cookies will work out for me. Then I can purchase some new games.
Yeah, maybe you will go 11-0.
Maybe we can only hope, right?
One can only hope.
All right, so that'll do it for the this week. Hey, thanks for listening for 17 weeks and then some. So
well, now it's 18.
Well, now, but and then next week be 19. Yeah. So we'll be back again, talk more playoff stuff next week. So good luck this week, and you can always follow us on Twitter at NoPuntIn, the number 10 DED. And Justin, I'm going to let you take us out with wild card or whatever it is you want to say.
Wild card. Not saying shut it down. It's a wild card week. It's wild card.
Wild card week.
Wild card. Shut it down. Wild card.